29-0, a perfect record that no UFC athlete could ever boast to the world, except for one man. Khabib left the world in shock when he announced that he would no longer compete in the sport of mixed martial arts after defeating top contender Justin Gaethje at UFC 254. This moment garnered over 20 million views on the UFC's YouTube channel, making it the UFC's highest viewed non-compilation video. Khabib said, "Today I want to say that this is my last fight, and no way I'm going to come here without my father. After what happened with my father, UFC called me about Justin. I talked to my mother. She didn't want me to fight without my father, and I promised her that this was going to be my last fight, and if I give my word, I have to follow this." These words resonated with both fans and detractors who seemingly agree that Khabib is in fact done competing in mixed martial arts. There's one problem in this equation that has some people, like myself, caused me to think there's a chance Khabib puts his 4-ounce UFC gloves back on for one last fight against none other than GSP. Before we go any further, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. We do a weekly podcast and talk about breaking news in the UFC and MMA. Khabib has made it clear that he no longer wants to compete in the UFC. However, during a recent press conference in Russian, he did note that there would be two reasons why he possibly would come back. One, for a fight that competitively interested him, or two, for $100 million. Check out our podcast about whether a Khabib fight is actually worth $100 million at the top right of this video. In an RT Sports interview, Khabib said, "I can make money myself. I'm at the peak of my career and I can fight for very large purses. But I made this decision. I think this is the best time. Not everyone can retire at their peak, but I know that in a year, 2 or 5 years, I'd have to face that decision again. I did enough in the sport to be considered the best. Today, I was ranked as the #1 pound for pound fighter, so the mission is accomplished. What else is there to do? Make money? I've always been able to do that." Looking at the top of the lightweight division currently, Khabib has defeated everyone except for Tony Ferguson. Many were hopeful that Tony would have a resurgence in his last fight, which would lead to sparking Khabib's desire to once again book a matchup against Tony Ferguson. Unfortunately, the matchup between Khabib and Tony will go down in the MMA community as a fight that was just never meant to be. But there is one last competitor that Khabib hasn't smashed, and who may arguably have a bigger legacy in MMA than Khabib himself. GSP is a 2-division champion and UFC legend that has fought the best of multiple eras of fighters, all while making it look easy. Khabib has shown interest in fighting GSP in the past before, and after the tragic passing of his father. In 2018, after retaining the belt against Al Iaquinta at UFC 223, Khabib was asked about fighting GSP at 170. He responded, "No, please, not 170 with George St. Pierre. No." He went on to say, "When I talked to my father, like 1 year ago, his dream fight, me versus George St. Pierre. He is the greatest athlete who ever competed in the UFC." And then, prior to his bout against Justin Gaethje, he left a comment on an Instagram post from Joe Rogan. Khabib wrote, "October, Justin, and April, GSP." It is clear that at multiple points in time, the fight between Khabib and GSP could have been booked. But why hasn't it is the real question we have to ask. GSP spoke about the possibility of fighting Khabib. He said, "I don't know, it takes 3 fighters to make a fight," St. Pierre said. "It takes an opponent, takes another opponent, and it takes the organization as well. I don't know if the organization would want that. I run away with the welterweight, I run away with the middleweight, and they assuredly don't want me to run with the lightweight. There's also the practical matter of weight cutting. St. Pierre has fought at 185 and 170, but to fight at lightweight, he would have to fight at 155. St. Pierre doesn't think that's possible without seriously hindering his ability at nearly age 40 years old. I'm 39 years old. I don't think I can go 155 without my performance being compromised," St. Pierre said. Still, the UFC Hall of Famer has nothing but praise for his potential foe, and believes he would be a heavy underdog against him. St. Pierre says, "I believe he is the best fighter right now on the face of the planet. Khabib is fighting at 155, but I believe he is heavier than me and walks around at a heavier weight. He is younger than me and can fluctuate whenever. I was never a big fan of weight cutting because I always thought long-term consequences. Physically, I'm very fit and don't have a lot of water addition and fat. I'm at my natural walking around weight. It's different for everybody, but I think Khabib walks around heavier than me and is 185 or close to 200, and I've never been close to 200 in my life. Let me play mediator for a second. Khabib would like to come back for something that's competitively intriguing to him? Okay, GSP is the perfect guy to add to your legacy. Khabib doesn't want to fight GSP at 170, GSP doesn't want to fight at 155, and the UFC doesn't want GSP winning the title and vacating for the third time. Okay, how about we remove the title from the picture and do a greatest of all time belt at a catch weight of 162.5, which is halfway between 155 and 170. This way, GSP doesn't have to cut down to 155 and Khabib doesn't have to face a 170-pound GSP. In this situation, the UFC would only be the hurdle left to jump over. But, as we've seen before, if it makes dollars, it makes sense. 2021 Khabib versus GSP, book it. Honestly, I wish it was that simple. If you liked the video, make sure to press the thumbs up. And if you want more, subscribe to the channel for more videos like this. And our podcast talking about the latest news and events in UFC and MMA. Follow our Instagram and TikTok in the description.